In this lesson, we're going to look at how to make these tabs, our currently invisible tabs, become active when the page loads. So the way we're going to do that is by adding a ready class to our group of tabs when the page loads. So let's go all the way down to the bottom of the page where I have a script block ready and waiting. So we know that we can listen for events for when things happen on our page in our browser. In this case, we want to do something immediately when the page loads. So you may have seen, as an example, I'm going to split my window so I can go back up to the body tag. You may have seen sometimes when we're doing things like loading images or something like that using JavaScript. If you've been doing this for a while, you may have seen something like this, the onload attribute on the body tag. This will execute some JavaScript. And in this design provided to me, that's what's happening here. Some images are being loaded. But this load event doesn't actually fire until all the images on the page have been loaded. And we don't actually care about that for these tabs, so we're going to use a different event, and we're going to do it in a way that doesn't involve messing with your HTML. So down here, I'm going to add an event listener directly to the document. I'm going to use the add event listener method. And the event that I'm listening for in this case is not load. I don't care about the images in this case. I'm going to use another event which is called DOM content loaded. This is the event that fires when the page has loaded, but before any external resources have been loaded. So that includes images, and I'm pretty sure it also includes CSS files and the like. So we're listening for this event, but we need to actually do something when it happens. So we've seen that we can use a named function here. So I'm going to say it could be called something like activate tabs. And if we did it this way, we would subsequently define a function called activate tabs and fill it in with what we wanted to happen. But we're going to do this a little differently this time. Instead, we're going to use what's called an anonymous function. This is a function which has no name. And because JavaScript treats functions just like any other kind of value, you can just drop one in where you would otherwise have a named function like this. And now you don't have to have everything on a separate line. You can define everything in one big block. So we can see very clearly that this function goes with this event listener. Anonymous functions are a really useful feature of JavaScript, and you'll see them all over the place. So I wanted to make sure that you had exposure to that here. So we now have an event listener that will fire when the page loads. And here in our anonymous function, we can actually start doing some stuff. So I'm going to start by just logging a message to the console. The page has loaded. I'm going to save this, switch over to my browser, and reload. Let's open up the console and see what things look like. I'm going to use Command Option I here. And there we go. I can see my message. Let's reload this so you can watch it come in. This might be too fast, but we'll try it anyway. Yep. In the blink of an eye, it shows up. So we know that this event is firing when the page loads. That's good. But what we want to do is something a little more meaningful. So we want to add a class to our tab group when this page loads. So what I'm going to do is get that tab group by its ID, which, let's use the inspector here. I'm going to collapse this down a little bit. There it is, tab group. That's what I want. So let me copy that ID, paste it in over here. So what I want to do is set the class name of this group to ready, therefore indicating that I'm ready and also causing all the CSS to start taking effect. And the way we do that in JavaScript is by setting a property called class name, not just class name spelled exactly like this. And so I'm going to set that property to ready and save this. Now if I switch back over to my browser again and reload, there we go. The page loads and that class has been added. Let's inspect this. There we go. We can see this taking effect. One of the neat things about the web inspector is that it shows you live the changes that happen to your HTML as JavaScript starts messing with it. If I were to just view source, and scroll down. Of course, you can see, here's my tab group, and there is no class there. But JavaScript has added one, and when I look at the elements inspector, I can see it right there. Now again, we can't do anything. We need to actually add some further interactivity to make this meaningful, but using this method, I can make sure that this CSS only works when all the other interactivity that I'm planning to add with JavaScript is available. So that's how you can start doing things when a page loads and how to add a class to an element using JavaScript.